On World News Tonight this Thursday, the Star Report on the President. What will Congress do next? What's in the report? When will the public see it? What does the President's own pastor think of his behavior? Could he be kicked out of his church? Another political upheaval in Russia. Does the new man have what it takes to survive? And Keiko the whale. What will it take to survive in the ocean again?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. Now that the Congress has the independent counsel's report on the President and the Monica Lewinsky investigation, there are the most serious political and legal decisions to be made. And sometimes they're the same thing. In the Congress today, they are wrestling with the possibility of impeaching the President now that he's accused of numerous crimes. Important note, this is purely a prosecutor's document. There has been no defense so far. The Congress is also deciding how the report will be released to the public, which it will. But it is the charges which the independent counsel makes that are the serious core of all this. And so first we go to ABC's Jackie Judd.
Ken Starr and his prosecutors accuse President Clinton of 11 offenses which they consider grounds for potential impeachment. The allegations involve a broad pattern of deception intended to keep the truth of his affair with Monica Lewinsky under wraps. It is in count one where Mr. Clinton is accused of committing perjury last January when he denied under oath having sexual relations with Lewinsky. Elsewhere, he is accused of telling the same lie to the grand jury. Counts 10 and 11 involve alleged obstruction of justice and abuse of power. According to sources, prosecutors say Mr. Clinton cited executive privilege not to protect the office of the presidency, but only to protect himself and to keep witnesses away from prosecutors. They claim Mr. Clinton was involved in the long battle to keep Secret Service agents from testifying, even though the president publicly denied that.
I literally have had no involvement in that decision whatever.
And on the issue of obstruction of justice, the president is accused of lying to employees who were prospective grand jury witnesses, knowing those lies would be told to investigators. Sources familiar with the report also say prosecutors tried to establish a pattern of obstruction. The claim is made that the efforts to get Monica Lewinsky a job are similar to efforts made on behalf of the president's friend, Webb Hubbell, when Starr was trying to gain Hubbell's cooperation in the Whitewater investigation. The report concludes that in both cases, the motive was the same: keep witnesses happy and less inclined to offer evidence damaging to the president. Peter?
Thanks very much, Jackie. Jackie Judd in Washington. The report is still under lock and key. The House Rules Committee decides tonight how to make it public. The president's lawyers went to Capitol Hill today to argue again that he should see it first. Here's ABC's Linda Douglas.
Sources tell ABC News that when President Clinton's lawyers came to Capitol Hill, they pleaded with Judiciary Chairman Henry Hyde. Could the president see Starr's report 48 hours before it is released? Hyde said no. How about 1 hour before? Hyde said no. Could the lawyers have the right to interview witnesses? Hyde said no. Later, the lawyers gave no hint that they had asked and been denied.
This was just an initial, very cordial meeting about procedures and other matters of common concern. The referral by the prosecutors is simply a collection of their contentions, claims, and allegations, and we look forward to the chance to rebut those.
Earlier, in a closed-door meeting, some Democrats said they didn't care if the president got any advance notice. They want to get the report out fast so they can deal with the consequences before Election Day. Democratic leaders are struggling to tamp down members' anxiety.
This is not a process where we just go with whims or rumors or half-facts or innuendo. We have to be careful, and we have to be sensible, and we have to be fair.
Aware that the public will be watching all of this, Speaker Gingrich announced today he will enforce rules of decorum on the House floor.
Members engaging in debate must abstain from language that is personally offensive toward the president, including references to various types of unethical behavior.
At this hour, a House committee is debating a resolution that calls for the release of Starr's 445-page report tomorrow if the House votes to do so. Thousands of pages of additional sensitive material would be edited and released later this month. One Democrat said if Starr's report is bad and credible, Democrats will start running from the president. Peter.
Linda, thank you. Linda Douglas on Capitol Hill. The Democratic leader in the House, Richard Gebhardt, has said that an impeachment inquiry may be the most important duty of the House short of declaring war. So let us take a closer look at what impeachment is and how it might happen. We turn to our legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin. Jeffrey, the Constitution, the president says, can be impeached for treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Gerald Ford once said that high crimes and misdemeanors mean whatever the Congress thinks they mean. What is explained?
Well, the formal impeachment inquiry would begin in the House Judiciary Committee, and from there they would examine witnesses and discover and examine the evidence.
Committee could then vote on articles of impeachment, which are like individual criminal charges. If any of the articles pass the committee, the battle would shift to the full House. If a majority of the House vote in favor, then the president is impeached, but he remains in office until a trial in the Senate. That would be much like a criminal trial. Members of the House serving as prosecutors, senators playing the role of the jury, and the Chief Justice of the United States presiding.
And finally, Peter, if 2/3 of the senators vote against the president on any article of impeachment, he would immediately be removed from office.
Now, as you know, I totally led you in the wrong direction. I do very much apologize. Tell me about what Gerald Ford said, that impeachment means whatever Congress says it means.
Well, the term is somewhat of a constitutional mystery because it's not really, in a modern sense, a crime or a misdemeanor. It doesn't have to be against the criminal law, and it's not really a misdemeanor in the sense of a minor offense. What it is a serious abuse of power.
Any example?
That's really... Well, an example seems to be a systematic obstruction of justice. That's what happened in Watergate. And the real core issue I think Congress will be wrestling with now is the Monica Lewinsky case an isolated personal example of misconduct by the president, or is it a systematic obstruction of justice, as Starr alleges in the report?
Jeffrey, as always, thank you. Sorry to send you down the wrong path, as I did. Now, very serious. Now getting to the Starr report on to the public. Releasing it over the internet may be the fastest way, but there are concerns, of course, that not everyone will be able to get access. Some of the other options, including the internet, from ABC's Jack Smith.
Congress is so concerned about the surge in public demand when it posts the Starr report on the internet that it's planning to open up additional websites. It may even give the report to other organizations to distribute for fear the server or computer at Congress's website will simply jam up.
It becomes a bottleneck. If there's too many people trying to squeeze through that door, they'll be turned away and they'll keep trying. And the problem perpetuates itself as people try over and over to get access to the information.
There's also concern about the 83% of American households who do not have access to the internet. There is the government printing office, which promises to have copies a day later, but most Americans will have to rely on the print media, and they are responding to an extraordinary degree. The Washington Post will print the report in its entirety in a special edition on Saturday. Other newspapers are considering doing the same, as are national news magazines, and at least one publisher is already planning an instant book. Its cover is ready.
We expect the report to be released on Friday afternoon, and we anticipate having books in the stores on Tuesday.
Both the Special Prosecutor's Office and Congress had feared the report might be excerpted and taken out of context. But in the age of the internet, that, it seems, will not happen. All 445 pages of Starr's report will be available to virtually all Americans, if not in a few minutes, then in a few days. Jack Smith, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back, could the president be kicked out of his own church? Peggy Waymar's exclusive interview with the pastor of the president's own congregation.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Bayer.
1 3-layer wedding cake, done.
3? Should be 6.
Bayer relieves the inflammation that can cause arthritis pain and stiffness. Tylenol can't. And taken regularly, only Bayer can help save your life by reducing the risk of another heart attack. Ask your doctor.
Ta-da!
It's beautiful.
Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more. Also try Extra Strength Bayer PM, the only nighttime aspirin.
Now's the time to discover the great selection of 1998 Oldsmobile cars and trucks available at Discover Days. Consider the Bravada. Its exclusive Smart Track system automatically adjusts to changing road conditions. Now receive our lowest financing of the year at 0.9% and enjoy over $3,000 in finance savings. Or for a limited time, receive $2,500 cash back on the Bravada. Discover Days with 0.9% financing on all 98 Oldsmobiles at your Oldsmobile dealer now.
With all we have to do today, does it make sense to keep color on your hair for 30 minutes when you can get rid of the gray in 5? Just 5. Great color, body, and shine in 5 gentle minutes. Just 5. Smart hair color. Works for me.
In the face of a political catastrophe for the president and a constitutional crisis perhaps, President Clinton tried to explain himself today to his cabinet and to the Democratic leadership in the Senate. Here's ABC's John Cochran.
Coming to the White House for what proved to be a long, difficult meeting, Senate Democratic leaders heard the president assure them that he believes there are no surprises in the Starr report. Not all of them were convinced.
We're all going to read the report, and my guess is there's going to be surprises in there. Every single person that was down there said directly to them that this is extremely serious, and we don't know where it's going to end. And we all could potentially be in your jury.
Although furious that the president has lied to them in the past, Democratic leaders gave him as much support as they felt it was safe to give.
I accept the president's apology, and I think my colleagues do as well.
You trust him?
Of course.
Mr. Clinton admitted to the senators he knows he is in trouble and told another group all he can do is continue to apologize.
Part of this process I'm going through of talking to people with whom I work and with whom I must work in your behalf, to ask for their understanding, their forgiveness, and their commitment not to let the events of the moment in Washington deter us from doing the people's work here and building the future of this country.
The president also apologized to cabinet members who backed him for months because he had assured them he had done nothing wrong.
It was an extraordinary meeting. The president apologized. He was hurting. The cabinet, myself, we support him. It was an extraordinary meeting. It was emotional. The president had a strong message for all of us, and that was that we should press ahead with the business of the country.
Tonight, Mrs. Clinton is expected to introduce the president at a party fundraiser, but her aides say there is no indication yet that she is ready to say publicly that she forgives the president. Peter?
Thank you, John. John Cochran at the White House. President Clinton looks for forgiveness tomorrow when he meets with religious leaders at a national prayer breakfast in Washington. We will be on the air live when the president speaks. The question is, will he find it from this forgiveness from those who feel very deeply that he has sinned? There are members of his own denomination who want him to resign. Peggy Wehmeyer, who covers religion for us, has had an exclusive conversation with the president's own pastor.
Bill Clinton, a lifelong Southern Baptist, has professed a deep commitment to his Christian faith. But leaders of the president's own denomination now say his public profession of faith is in such contradiction to his private behavior that he should resign.
You cannot live a life of disregard for morality and integrity and truthfulness and still be qualified to serve in any office in this land.
Some Baptist leaders have pressured the president's Little Rock pastor to sever Clinton's church membership. But Reverend Rex Horn has spoken with the president about the Lewinsky affair and has no intention of expelling him.
I was grieved about the whole thing. I definitely think what the president did and what he's admitted to is indefensible. It is inexcusable. But I do not believe it's unforgivable.
What would you want people to know about him that only you might know?
I do believe that there's a real tension in his life related to faith. I believe that there are things that he wants to do and he does not do them. There are some things that he does not want to do. And I think that he is at a real crossroads in his life in a lot of different ways.
What advice would you give him as pastor if you could at this crossroads?
Just simply to make things right with God and let everything else fall where it will.
President Clinton has always said that he depends on God's forgiveness.
it frees you of all the guilt that you would otherwise carry around from all the mistakes you make. I mean, the important thing to me about my life and my faith is that every day I get to get up and try again.
Because?
Because the God I believe in is a God of second chances.
Peggy Waymeyer, ABC News, Washington.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials lost more than 249 points to close at 76.15. On the NASDAQ market, stocks were down more than 39 points. Investors always hate uncertainty. And today there was plenty to be uncertain about. Will the president survive? What about the new Russian leader, who we'll talk about in just a moment? And how bad is the economy in Latin America really? Now, one other important piece of news today, not related to politics, the 13-day-old pilot strike at Northwest Airlines is over. A deal late today after several days of intensive negotiations, and the airline is expected to resume operations almost immediately. In a moment, Boris Yeltsin loses a battle. What does that mean for the United States? And the world's most famous whale back in familiar waters after almost 2 decades.
Save some hot water. Too late! Honey, turn up the heat.
It is up.
Please let it be him. Let it be him. Please let it be him.
The gas-fueled complete heat system from Lennox.
It's him.
Virtually unlimited hot water and comfortable home heating in one unit. And it runs on economical natural gas, so it's super efficient.
Yes!
The Lennox complete heat system. Not just heat, complete heat.
Yes. Clean natural gas. Think what you'll save.
You can feel it start to burn all through here. All you can think about is getting rid of it quickly. I even tried Zantac 75, but it didn't work fast enough. Finally, I asked my doctor, and my doctor said Mylanta. Fast-acting Mylanta was made to work fast where heartburn hurts most. Soothing, on contact. It's so fast. My doctor said Mylanta.
And if you suffer from gas, there's a Mylanta just for you. Mylanta Gas.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, someone else was looking at larger space for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
A friendly reminder from Grand Cinnamon Rolls.
For an enjoyable weekend, avoid things like message pads. And of course, alarm clocks. Instead, grab a big Grand Cinnamon Roll.
What better way to unwind after a long week than by enjoying a hot, fresh Grand Cinnamon Roll? Now with richer, more homemade taste. They'll make you forget that Monday is...
Well, let's just forget about Monday. They're not just big, they're Grands.
In Russia today, Boris Yeltsin was forced to back down. In the face of strong opposition from the communists and others, Mr. Yeltsin was forced to nominate a new prime minister. He is the foreign minister, Evgeny Primakov, a man the United States has had some experience with, not to mention difficulty. In Moscow, ABC's Jim Wooten.
Primakov at the Kremlin today. This grizzled veteran of Russia's political combat, a former spy master and intelligence officer, and one of the only politicians acceptable to most of the factions in the parliament. Today, his old comrades, the communists, endorsed him enthusiastically, while others embraced him as the only solution to the stalemate.
Mr. Primakov is not our favorite choice, but this is a compromise which the democratic opposition is ready to support in the current conditions.
But for many in the parliament, Primakov's main attraction is his history of standing up for Russia and its traditional allies against the West, especially America. He counts Saddam Hussein as a friend and wants to ease UN sanctions on Iraq. In the Balkans, he supports the Serbs. In the Middle East, the Palestinians. Still, Primakov, if not well-liked, is respected in the West as a pragmatist. But he has no experience in financial affairs. His career was in foreign policy, in think tanks on the old Soviet Politburo, in the KGB, as Mikhail Gorbachev's advisor, and now as Boris Yeltsin's. And no one is suggesting that as Prime Minister, Yevgeny Primakov would have a quick cure for Russia's sick economy. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Moscow.
Still overseas violence in the Cambodian capital of Phnom Penh today. Police fired into a crowd protesting the fairness or lack of fairness during elections, which brought the country's leader Hun Sen to power again recently. One student was seriously wounded. In Belfast today, something would have been unthinkable just a few months ago. The Protestant leader, David Trimble, went to meet Gerry Adams, the head of Sinn Féin, the political wing of the Irish Republican Army. That is Mr. Adams there. It's the first meeting between the leaders of Northern Ireland's biggest Catholic and Protestant factions in more than 70 years. In just a moment, Keiko, just a little closer to freedom.
We know all about it. Some people throw away the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes without even opening it up. Well, this week, that could be a costly mistake. Because this week, if you throw away a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with this green star, you could be throwing away a real check for $100,000. There are thousands of real checks right inside selected envelopes marked with a green star. Checks you can take right to the bank. So watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
When your allergies are a nightmare, you need fast relief. You need the power of Zyrtec. Prescription Zyrtec starts working fast and lasts 24 hours. So when allergies are a nightmare, remember the power of Zyrtec. In studies, drowsiness was the most common side effect. Other side effects included fatigue and dry mouth. Most were mild or moderate. To learn more, ask your doctor or pharmacist.
Oh my gosh, it's late. I better make you some dinner.
Look, Mommy. Mommy, look what I made for you.
That's beautiful, honey. You know what? I'm gonna make something special for you, too.
Tonight, making something that comes from the heart, not the freezer. Campbell's soup and sandwiches. Dinner with a lot of love that's not a lot of time.
So what else did you learn in school today?
Sharing.
Campbell's. Good for the body, good for the soul.
Great. Now, you know, the other thing we wanted to talk to you about was mutual funds that help minimize the capital gains taxes.
They don't exist, sweetheart.
Actually, index funds can do that.
Really?
Yeah. Some are designed to be more tax efficient. And given your long-term goals, it might be an option that makes sense for you.
I stand corrected.
So sit down. This is the one I was taking.
This is index funds here. It's a whole pamphlet.
At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new nail guard tires, we added a few to our test track. Nail guard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
In Iceland today, at least a taste of freedom. It's been 19 years since Keiko the whale was on his own in the North Atlantic. He's been around the world and in the movies. And tonight, after extraordinary efforts by children and others who love him, Keiko is back in deep waters again. ABC's Judy Muller, tonight in the Icelandic coastal village of Vestmannaeyjar.
Keiko arrived back in Iceland on an enormous Air Force cargo plane. Then, a short drive to the harbor cheered on by school children, where the world's most famous killer whale was taken to a penned-in cove, not far from the waters where he was first captured at the age of 2.
You know, it's not just an ordinary whale. It's very important movie star, you know.
Had it not been for his starring role in the film Free Willy, the world would have paid no attention to the fact that Keiko was ailing in a small warm tank in Mexico City. A huge fundraising effort brought Keiko to an Oregon aquarium for rehabilitation. Some people are critical of the plan to return Keiko to the wild because he has depended on humans for 20 years and may be a poor candidate for such an experiment.
Our human compassion for animals has been misinformed and misguided, largely due to Hollywood.
But on this special day of homecoming, there were few naysayers in the crowd as Keiko was lowered into the huge bay pen. If Keiko can learn to survive by hunting for his own food, he'll be released one day to the open sea. That is still a big if. But today was an important step, and for his trainers, an emotional one.
As a veterinarian, as a medical supervisor, and as a human being, It can't get any better.
Even if Keiko never leaves this bay, he's better off than he was before. This bay pen is 60% bigger than his tank in Oregon. He'll have plenty of live fish to eat, and he'll be able to communicate with passing pods of killer whales. Late today, he was observed talking with a couple of curious dolphins. But for now, his best friends are still the human variety. Judy Muller, ABC News, Vestmannaeyjar, Iceland.
We'll be back with our top story in just a moment.
The other day, I'm driving down Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Heartburn big time. My passenger says, here, take a Zantac 75. I say, what are you, a doctor? And he says, yeah.
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75, the final word in heartburn relief.
You want a green light to eat like never before? I do. Healthy choice.
We have breaking news out of Washington to tell you about. The president is speaking right now, we believe, on Northwest Airlines.
All right, let's see what he has to say.
Alone. They deserve credit for their determination. Again, let me say that this is good news for the American people. This is an indication that the collective bargaining process, if entered into in good faith, can actually work in a way that benefits everyone. I know there are a lot of people that depend upon Northwest who are relieved tonight, and again, I just want to thank all the parties, including you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, what did you tell your cabinet? What did you tell your cabinet, Mr. President?
Congress is also deciding how the independent counsel's report, it's a big one, will be released to the public, which, as we said, it will. There's been no defense so far. But in the report, the prosecutors accuse the president of 11 offenses which they consider potential grounds for impeachment. That is our report on World News Tonight. Later on Nightline, more on Congress and the Star Report. One other program note. President Clinton's personal problems have become a matter of public debate almost immediately. It took more than 30 years before President Kennedy's private life had a thorough airing. And the implications of that to his governance tonight, an ABC News special, President Kennedy, The Dangerous Years. You might want to join us for that. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow, what lies ahead for the president? Did he abuse his power? Will this crisis lead to impeachment? For the latest, watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now